Today we're going to be talking about impromptu role playing or mastering your on-the-fly skill. And yeah, this one is going to be instructional. And even though this is an RPG Elite philosophy video, I think this one is going to cover it for just about everyone. Hey, if this is your first time coming to the channel, I want to welcome you. My name is Servant of Shiloh, and this is RPG Elite. This is the place where I focus on putting the RP back into RPG, and how I do that is by giving you tools, tips, tutorials, and real talk about the tabletop RPG space and culture. Today, we're gonna be talking about a tip, even though it's part real talk as well, when it comes to impromptu role playing. Now, I've been talking about the RPG Elite qualities for quite some time. Actually, this is over a year now. We've been talking about RPG Elite qualities. And we're on the last quality, which is this. RPG Elites are always striving to improve. We're always looking to be better. And there are 4 facets to this particular quality. And we've already gone through 3 of them. So if you missed those videos, then links for those will be down in the description below. But today we're going to get to the 4th one, and it's just going to be the beginning of the 4th one, because this 4th one has 3 aspects to it. And out of these 4, I think this one right here is the one that most people struggle with. I've seen it across the board when I go to game rooms or game shops and I'm looking at people play. And this one right here is where I see people have the most trouble. The question is, why? Why do people have such a hard time with this? Why is it easier for some people to come up with things off of the top of the mind, and it's a Herculean effort for others? Well, today I'm going to begin to answer that question, as well as help you who struggle with this become just a little better at your impromptu role play and kind of doing things on the fly. Now, for this particular facet, there's going to be an order of operation, which means that the first one that I present to you, you need to do that first, second one second, third one third, so on and so forth. And the reason for that is simple. If you want this to be implemented correctly, or really you want it to evolve correctly, then this is the way that you would have to do it. Now, of course, if you don't want to become better at impromptu role playing, and maybe you think mediocre is a great thing, then okay, we'll keep doing what you're doing. But if not, and if you want to learn, and if you're meek enough to say, you know, I could be getting better. I think I want to get better at this. I think I can get a little better at this, then this will be the video for you. Now, I have 3 aspects to this facet, and we're only going to go over one today. And this is going to be one that I've mentioned before on other facets, which probably is a hint that, maybe this one is a little bit important. Yeah, just a tiny bit. Let's roll into this and let's see what this first thing is. And I'm going to actually explain to you, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why this is important to up your game in your impromptu role play. Reading literature is dying a slow death. There was a Gallup poll that was done in 2022 which saw a decrease in reading. And this is from people who already read. This is more marked in college graduates than anywhere else. Now, many of you might say, oh, I don't like to read. Okay, well, may I suggest something? May I suggest that you do it anyway if you want to improve your impromptu role playing, because not only will it help you in your impromptu role playing, but what we're going to talk about today is going to help you in life. It's kind of like lifting weights, right? You lift weights and you know that it's a good thing to do. But when you go to the gym, or when you go downstairs, or even when you're doing things just to make yourself healthier, well, you don't feel like doing this stuff all of the time. But those who are more dedicated and committed and disciplined they do it anyway. Why? Because the benefits far outweigh their feelings of the moment. So may I suggest that this may be a thing you want to do to foster a regimen of discipline so that you can reap the benefits, which we are going to talk about right now. Now, there are myriad benefits of reading, but I only focused on the 3 that really are going to help you when it comes to impromptu role play. Reading novels strengthens your imagination. Now, with movies and televisions, you are given all of the data. There's no room for the imagination. You just sit down and you watch somebody else's vision play out on the screen and react. Reading novels, or reading in general, to be quite honest, has become a thing for intelligent and successful people. It's kind of like that fringe thing. Oh, they do that, but we don't do that. And why don't you do that? That doesn't make any sense. Why? I believe it's because we're in the age of just consuming things. So we watch a lot of movies and we binge watch stuff and we look at television and film. It's always something flashing before our eyes. Now, again, I don't have anything against movies. I watch movies. I like watching movies. I like watching good television shows, man. Shoot, I remember when Daredevil came out on Netflix years ago. I binge watched the mess out of that at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? So I understand that, and there's nothing wrong with doing that every once in a while. But we have gotten used to just consuming. And they have their place, but they don't even compare to the long-term benefits that reading has. Movies, actually, watching too much movies or television or anything like that, it makes you stupid. So let's take a look at these benefits. Let's take a look at these 3 proven, scientifically researched benefits of reading novels, reading in general, but reading novels specifically if you want to improve your impromptu role playing. Reading promotes a strong, healthy mind. It scientifically increases brain connectivity for days after doing it. This in turn helps the brain process information more effectively, and it improves a person's ability to communicate. Reading novels forces you to think creatively. It makes you work, which is probably why most people don't do it. That 4-letter word has become a cuss word today in our society. Now, for me personally, I am always reading a nonfiction and a fiction book. Now, for example, here's my nonfiction book right here. This one here is by Ivor Davidson. It's called The Birth of the Church, and I'm a little bit over halfway through it, and it's pretty good. I'm enjoying this one. I really am enjoying this one. I have a hard time putting it down because I try to read like 10 pages out of my books every day, and then if I want to go longer, then I will. So that's my nonfiction book that I read, but I also read fiction. And even though it's, you would think that I would have read this book a long time ago, but I did not, because you guys who know my background know that, yeah, I started with the game I refuse to mention by name on this channel, but I quickly left that and went into Marvel and Traveler and Gamma World and Twilight 2000 and a whole bunch of other things. So I didn't get a chance to read this book, which is kind of like the book that you read because everybody's playing the game that I refuse to mention by name on this channel, which is Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings, and the whole trilogy. I'm reading it now, and boy, am I enjoying it. I really am enjoying it. And of course I'm enjoying it, and it helps because I run a One Ring campaign. So it helps me get into the mood. It helps me know most of the lore. It's just, there's multiple benefits of reading these books. But you see, as I said, reading is kind of going the way of the dinosaur. And the reason why is like I said earlier, people consume. They're into consumerism, especially when it comes to the imagination. They watch somebody else's vision play on the screen all of the time, but they don't develop their own. And so they consume and they don't produce anything, or they find it difficult to produce something. It gets them all excited and gets them geeked to see these things, these flashy images on the screen, and hoorah. But when it comes time to actually produce something that is creative and imaginative, well, they struggle, they freeze, they don't know what to do. That's because you haven't worked that muscle, that brain. Now, to be fair, part of that has to do with the fact that some people are just not all that imaginative. And I'm not saying that as a dig against people. I'm saying that because that's just the area of providence. I've had people ask me, man, why are you coming up with all these wild ideas? All right, well, it's because I read. I'm just not even gonna lie. I put my twist on things from other people and I get ideas and things like that. It's because I'm always reading. Now, just because you might not have been born with a super imagination, it does not mean that you cannot develop that. I read a fiction and a nonfiction book. Why? Because one feeds my left brain, the other one feeds my right brain, and guess what? Balanced brain. So if you want to be imaginative and you want to work that right brain creativity, get it functioning, then you need to read novels. Now, I've talked about this one in a previous facet right before this, which is getting stronger with your medium level role playing. Building a strong vocabulary makes it a whole lot less daunting when you have to come up with a description or you have to impromptu role play. It makes it so much easier. It's easier to do, and the more that you do it, the easier it gets. Now, researchers call this the Matthew effect, and believe it or not, it comes from the Bible. And no, I didn't make that up. You can go and look it up because I didn't know nothing about this until I started doing my own research for this video. It comes from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 12, which says this: "For to the one who has, more will be given, and he will have in abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away." Now, let me say this in our vernacular today, just to simplify it for you. What the Lord Jesus Christ is saying there is that you snooze, you lose. If you don't use it, you will lose it. It's like muscles, man. If you don't work these muscles, they will atrophy. They will become less and less. You've got to put it in, but the more that you put in, the more that you get. But what you think that you have, if you do nothing, you will lose. So it's the same thing when it comes to your vocabulary, impromptu role playing, even your medium level role play. If you want to become better at it, then you have to deposit something inside of the well. You cannot take out of something that is bone dry. You have to have something inside of the well. You got to be depositing stuff inside of the well. Then when the time comes to drink, oh, you will have no problem. And you won't die of imagination thirst. Research has shown that people who read literary fiction, so this is stories where it focuses on the characters, their struggles, their mindsets, all of that, they have a heightened ability to empathize. Researchers call this the theory of the mind, which is supposed to represent a core skill set of forging, navigating, and maintaining social relationships. Now, let's be real, let's be honest. If you're looking at the tabletop RPG community in space, you're looking at a lot of people who have social problems. I have said it before, I'll say it again, there are tons of people, I would say quite a few people in the space who are just socially inept. And the reason for this is that they don't know how to connect with people. And when it comes to tabletop RPGs, you have to be able to connect with people. And I'm not just talking about people around the table. I'm talking about your character connecting with other characters. And here we go now, listen to this one. You connecting with your own character. If you have a hard time empathizing, then you won't be able to connect to your own character, which is why you struggle so much with it. Okay, then if you want to be able to do this better, then you need to start reading some novels. You need to start reading novels that are very character driven. So you begin to think like other characters and put yourself in other people's shoes. That is what that is all about. And when you can do that, when you create a character, it will become easier to empathize and put yourself in their shoes and to act like they would act. It's not just a story anymore that they have in their background, but it's actually something that's concrete. It is actually something that is real. So a regular dose of this, it's going to help you strengthen this theory of the mind. It's going to help you strengthen that. It's very important to be able to empathize. And so reading literary fiction is going to help you do that. Reading fiction novels will help you do that. You may get anxiety just thinking about coming up with creative ways of expression. You may feel awkward and uncomfortable. Well, let me help you out. Let me relieve all of this stress that you're feeling right now. Guess what? That's fine. That is totally fine. You're gonna be all right. Just take it in baby steps. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. If you want to get better at this, and you do want this empathy and connection and things like that, well, best thing to do is to do what you haven't been doing. And this is the first step. Now, I'm just giving you 3 of the benefits, because this stuff not only will help you in your tabletop RPG, impromptu role playing, it's going to help you in life. Would it not be better to be a better communicator with other people? Would it not be better to have a stronger vocabulary? Would it not be better to be able to empathize with people and they with you? This is going to help your life, not just your gameplay. You know, I really believe that tabletop RPGs is a collaborative storytelling effort. Even in my One Ring campaign, if somebody rolls really well, they roll an extraordinary success, or they roll a great success, or they roll a Gandalf or something like that, which are really good things in the game, then I go, okay, how does it look? And then I sit back. The reason I sit back is, again, it's a collaborative storytelling effort. I don't do this. It's us that does this. And it's your turn up at the typewriter to write your part of the story. What does it look like? What does your character say? What do they do? All of these things, it's your turn now. Now, I believe that. This is why I put them on the spot. And even in my campaign, when I do that, I mean, I can hear the wheels turning, and I can hear the steam coming out their ears, man. They're just like, you can hear them struggling. And I know they don't watch my videos, and I am going to tell them to watch this video, except one. One does watch the video, but I'm telling you, in order to make it easier for yourself when it comes to impromptu role play, because folks, that is what tabletop RPGs is all about. It's totally impromptu role play. The rules are just there to kind of guide our impromptu role play. So if you want to get better at coming up with this stuff off the top of the mind, I have just given you the tools, the beginning tools. I got some more things that you can do, but this is just the beginning. You can start this today. And I'm giving you the reasons why you should do it, because it's going to help you not in just your tabletop RPG sessions, and I help you in life. And those things are priceless. If you got any value out of this video today, something, you learned a little something, then can you do me a solid? Can you crush the like button? And also, if you want to stick around, if you thought that the video was interesting and maybe you saw a video here and a video there, I'm going to invite you right now, come and join us here at RPG Elite and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And the question of the vid, I am interested in seeing you guys' responses on this, but what is the most difficult thing for you when it comes to impromptu role play? Now, I really want to hear this, because again, I'll be going into the game shops and I'll be sitting up there. I just did this the other day, and I'm gonna make a whole video on this because this experience was whoa. But I do go in game shops. I watch people. I like to watch people. I like to observe and things like that. And normally I don't observe long because it's just not very interesting. So I want to know what you guys struggle with the most when it comes to impromptu role playing. And some of you may even have some tips for others who struggle. So make sure you put those down in the comments as well. That's going to do it for me, folks, in this new little setup here, which I kind of like. I'm not even going to lie. Nah, I mean? But it's time for me to go, so you know what that means. I got to do my snaggle push.
So exit, stage left.
Hey, if you have a game coming up this week, then you know what? Happy gaming. I hope you have an RPG Elite session. And until next time, folks, God willing, a brother is going to be outie. Oh, and before I go outie, hey, here's some videos right here that you can look at. All of the RPG Elite Philosophy ones. What? Okay, let's go. I'm outie. 5,000 elites. Peace.